The truth about 9/11. Many of you may not know that I used to have security clearance at the World Trade Center as an armed guard. And I know a lot more, and hopefully today you have a choice right now. There's the red pill and there's the blue pill. You have a choice to choose the blue pill and leave, or if you want to know some facts, grab the red pill, and it may change your life as well as your perception, how you see what you perceive as your government. It's going to be tough, guys, but I assure you, I worked hard at this. I have videos. I've known this for years. People obviously call you a conspiracy theorist, but when you see these videos, you will see that what I'm conveying is the truth. And if you've been following me for a while, you know I'm giving you a lot of information that it should wake you up. But I'm going to begin, and keep in mind, I'm going to be putting a lot of information up here somewhere because I don't have the time to go over everything, because if I do, I'm just going to prolong this. A lot of you will not be able to listen and just clock out. One thing I could tell you is a couple of things, and I'll back this up. Number one, do you know that it was not just 2 towers that went down? There was actually 3 towers. World Trade 7. Let me tell you a little bit quickly about World Trade 7. World Trade 7, for those that don't know, was actually housed, we used to house the FBI headquarters, Secret Services, Security and Exchange Commission, and CIA office. And for those that don't know, the FBI was conducting a major financial investigation, many related to corporate frauds and government corruption. After the building collapsed, all files were destroyed, wiping out years of investigation. That was in 9/11. Okay, for those that don't know as well, you got to follow the money. And I'm going to get on to that, so stay with me here, because World Trade 7 was announced 26 minutes prior of going down, of collapsing demolition style, by BBC live in the news, alleging 26 minutes prior to that the World Trade 7 have gone down. And it did not get hit by a plane, by the way.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago, I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attack. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. There's almost a sense downtown in New York behind me, down by the World Trade Centers, of just an area completely closed off as the rescue workers try to do their job. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York sky.
Most of you just know about Tower 1 and 2. I could also tell you, because I used to work there, okay? My brother worked there. He was there that day, as well as my brother-in-law. They were able to make it out alive. But a lot of you don't know that gold had disappeared. And they'll lie to you. They'll say that they recover. They won't mention to you that they have found trucks they're trying to leave that didn't make it out. They won't tell you there was billions of gold bars out there. And I know, because, again, I used to work there as an armed guard, protecting the gold and delivering and exporting gold bars and silver. Okay? The fire did not melt it. Where did that gold go? They'll lie to you. But let me watch these videos so you can see some more.
O colapso do edifício 7 do World Trade Center. Como é possível que um arranha-céu que não foi atingido por um avião tenha desmoronado tão rapidamente e simetricamente? O que os teóricos da conspiração dizem? Que o edifício 7 do World Trade Center foi destruído por uma demolição controlada usando explosivos e materiais inflamáveis. O foco da teoria inicialmente era uma frase dita pelo dono do prédio em uma entrevista de TV. Ele falava sobre a retirada dos bombeiros do edifício, mas a expressão que utilizou fez com que a sua fala fosse interpretada como uma alusão ao momento em que os explosivos foram detonados.
Okay, now that you watch this video, you will see not only did World Trade 7 go down, but also a lot of people that day was out, as you could see in this video, with binoculars, looking at these 5 Israelis that were dancing in joy from a white band while the towers went down. Obviously, she called the police. The police were able to locate them before they crossed the bridge. And as you can watch on the video,
when this woman was watching the Twin Towers burning from her apartment in New Jersey, she noticed three men on top of a van, posing for pictures with the towers burning in the background.
And I could see that they were like happy. You know, they didn't look shocked to me. You know, they didn't look shocked. I thought it was very strange.
The witness called police, who stopped the van hours later and arrested 5 men. All 5, it turns out, were Israeli. They were turned over to the FBI. Sources tell ABC News during a check of national security databases, some of the men were listed as having had connections with Israeli intelligence. At the FBI, that set off alarm bells. The FBI needed the answers to 3 important questions. Who were these men? What brought them to that parking lot on the morning of September 11th? And did they have any advance knowledge of what was going to happen that day? They said they worked for a company called Urban Moving.
they were Israeli spies. They were Mossad agents, okay? They were caught in the van with explosives and all that, and they were apprehended by the cops and then given over to the FBI, where they will hold them for many weeks until they were asked to release.
Now, the 5 dancing Israelis. These are also a very interesting thing. On 9/11, I was driving through Pennsylvania. We had been in New York City that morning, and we were coming back to Chicago. We couldn't go to Washington. And Ted Koppel came on the news about noon and said that the FBI was looking for 5 Middle Eastern men who were seen videotaping and celebrating the attack on the World Trade Center. I thought, that's interesting. That was the first time Middle Eastern had been mentioned. I told my wife, they could be Israelis, because the Israelis are Middle Eastern. And lo and behold, that's what happened. The next day, it turned out these men were arrested in New Jersey. They were arrested on 9/11. And 2 of them, the 2 on the far right, are actually Mossad agents. And they're known to U.S. law enforcement as being agents of Mossad. The other 3, these 3 here, are basically sub-agents, operatives, working with. And they were arrested in New Jersey, and they pulled over, they were pulled over. They had been videotaping and filming the World Trade Center burning, and as they did so, they were clicking their lighters and giving high fives and things like that. And they were observed by a lady in New Jersey who called the FBI, called the police, and then the New Jersey police caught them. And they had like multiple passports stuck in their socks, and they had thousands of dollars stuck in their socks, and their van tested positive for explosives, and they had box cutters. They told the police that, yeah, we were by the World Trade Center this morning. We were there. And what happened is then they went back to Israel, and after being held for about 2 months in Brooklyn in the lockup, and they went on TV. And the 3 who were not Mossad agents, the 3 younger guys, admitted. They said in Hebrew, our purpose was to document the event.
Okay, so obviously they have prior knowledge. Who benefit? Well, many people benefit. For sure, Israel benefit, because that was the excuse to drag the United States into wars with many Muslim or Islamic countries, such as Iraq, Afghanistan, and many others. So it also demonized the Muslim. You can all remember how you felt about Muslim at the time when they used the excuse of 19, right, Muslim with box cutters took down our system and all that, which obviously that was a lie. But this is the questions you got to ask yourself, guys, because again, I'm going to show you who benefit. And the fact is, it was obviously planned, because how the news, see, many of you trust the news and you trust the government. And I think I've shown you enough evidence why you shouldn't trust the government, because they have tried many times to poison us or all these other things. And I put it up there. You can research. In today's world, guys, you do not have any excuse, right? We had Chat GPT. We have DeepSeek that you go ask these questions, and sometimes ask them twice, because they're programmed to try to defend what actually happened. But once you ask again and you're more assertive, it will show you the facts of what happened. Okay. And again, many of you trust Israel. Israel is not our friends, and I've proven that by many incidents that they have acted against us, like U.S. Liberty incident in 1967 when they bombed 34. They bombed our ships, our United States Navy intelligence ship, and they killed 34 Americans and 171 injured, when there are still live witnesses, soldiers that tell you exactly what happened, how they saw the American flags, and they attacked them anyway. Okay. Also, the Levant affair, 1954, the espionage theft. There's so much more, and I'll put it up here so you can see it. But one thing I want to tell you is that to this day, we still have AIPAC, which they fund a lot of times and they lobbyist in favor of Israel. And obviously, two AIPAC officials were accused of passing classified United States defense information to Israel. They've done us dirty a lot. So you got to question the official narrative. And I think I have provided you enough information to make that decision. Okay. I've also given you other videos that you should be watching in regards to the Federal Reserve Bank. And it isn't federal. It's not a bank. It was created by many families, including the Rothschild. And you need to watch the video so you can get a better understanding and come to the light, right? Because once your eyes are open, you can't shut them down. You become very skeptical about your government, okay? And the only way I see rectifying, I think it's past the point of no return, because the GDP is less than our national debt, including the taxes that's collected. It's like having a credit card that's getting ready to bounce, because all we are able to pay are the interest, and the part of the interest that we're not paying is adding to the principal balance. Thus, the services will become less and less until they can't fund our military and fund a lot of our country's necessities, right? And obviously, we can't keep just taxing people, because it's going to get ridiculous. So I'm going to link this all back, and I'll show you information how it goes back for those that still doubt me, all the way back to John F. K., the Bay of Pigs, okay, which to make it simple and short, was our government trained 1,000 Cubans that were now Americans in Miami, and they trained 1,000 soldiers, and they send them back to Cuba to try to knock down Fidel Castro, right? And then what happened? It backfired, and we were embarrassed. We were humiliated to the point that they had the CIA director of the time and many within Pentagon, a military official, came up with this plan called Operation Northwoods. And you can verify this, and I'll show you some more information to see that it's true. Operation Northwoods is very similar to what happened in 9/11, where it was a plan to attack the United States building as well as ships and soldiers to make it seem that Cuba had attacked us, to justify, because we were embarrassed when Operation Bay of Pigs was unsuccessful, and we were humiliated by Fidel Castro. So we were embarrassed, and we wanted to implement Operation Northwoods, which sounds a lot like 9/11. But at that time, John F. K. wasn't having it. He thought it was insane. He fired a lot of people, and he wanted to dismantle the CIA to 1,000 pieces. And unfortunately, you saw what happened. He was killed. So watch all this information so you can start putting one and one together, because eventually some of the people that were indirectly involved was the Bush family, just like in Hitler's time. Senator Prescott Bush, okay, he was tried and convicted right here in America under trading under the Enemy Act. Okay, these are people that fund wars and make a lot of money. All right, and obviously you saw who was in charge in 9/11. Wasn't it George Bush? Wasn't it President George Bush? So that family has a lot of background of making money through oil industry, but as well as war, and they profit for war, and they give you the BS. And the problem is with this is that obviously, if you look at the GDP, right, from when the Federal Reserve Bank started in 1913, we lost 97% of our buying power, right? Our dollar's worth like 3 point something cents compared to what it would have been in 1913 had the Federal Reserve Bank not been implemented. But besides that, there were taxes that we didn't have back then, like payroll taxes as well as IRS taxes. Thus, it makes it harder for you right now to qualify to buy a home, as well as food shopping, groceries. Have you seen how expensive it has gotten? It's because these families that are in power, they hide under corporations, right? Elites like BlackRock, like Vanguard and all that, trillion-dollar company, and they're very powerful. And the Federal Reserve Bank obviously makes forced loans out to different countries, including Latin America, in which, as I mentioned before, fractional lending is basically making out loans, that money that we don't have, because our dollar is not backed by gold, just by the faith of somebody that's allegedly coming back from the loan that they do borrow. It's a Ponzi scheme, guys, and obviously it's going to collapse. But I'm bringing you this because you guys are at each other's throat, Democrats and Republicans. It doesn't matter, guys. The power, the elite are above them. They're the one calling the shot. They're the one that present the leader that you want to choose, one or the other. And they know, because they always win. Either this one does this as the CEO of America, or this as the president or CEO of America does this, and they win. But they get us fighting among each other when the real culprit, the Federal Reserve Bank, their agent that collects funds from them, the IRS, right? What else? dual citizenship within our government that needs to be banned. Okay, we need representatives that we elect that represent us American. No, not represent no other foreign entity, especially not Israel, because as you've seen, Israel is not our friend. Israel is our enemy, guys. And there's many Jewish people that are waking up as well. We see what we've done. How I feel not even embarrassed to call myself American. I'm sorry. You know, it's like America, I see like a mother that I love, right? My motherland, but she happens to be a crackhead, right? And, you know, she's toxic. That's how I see it. How can I feel happy anymore when I know that our country is going out there is complicit to war crimes and genocide against Palestine and many other nations, right? They have come and bombed, as I've shown before, many Latin American countries, plus implemented these types of loans with no actual funds, right? And that drags the country more in poverty. And then you wonder why they're crossing the border, and then we want to treat them like criminals. So there's a lot, guys, and that hurts my heart. And this is why I feel I have to awaken you guys, and I'm compelled to show you this information so you can start questioning, because once your mind is open up, you realize, why are we fighting Democrats, Republicans, and all that? They're not the real problem. The real problem is the people, the elite running this country. And they're too powerful, guys. And any country that has their money linked, their currency linked to our dollar, it's going to hurt. And I see it in less than 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised by 2030. So a lot of things has to change. It will happen. It's mathematics, guys. I'm not an expert, but I did go to, when I went to college and took micro and macroeconomics, I did learn a few things. And I know what's happening. It's mathematics. It's going to get worse. And me knowing the history, because a lot of you, that's the problem. You know the sports, home runs, records, and all that. You know all that, right? You go on Facebook, you go on social media, but you have no knowledge of history. And even the history that you think you do know is based on false, right? It's based on somebody else's story, right? And you know, us minorities, me being Puerto Rican, knowing my history, knowing how we've been mistreated, knowing how we've been poisoned and attacked and killed, then we tend to be more skeptical and not trusting the government. And it's my time to actually inform you and see it for yourself, because it doesn't matter the color of your skin, or it doesn't matter. They just want us to remain fighting and distract us so we don't focus on the real culprit. If you follow me, you will see a lot of videos that I've done. I'm trying to wake you up, but I also have to be careful because I could be putting myself at risk here, which is why a lot of the stuff, I put it up in writing. So you take your time if you really want to know the truth and get out of the matrix and wake up. Hey, it's okay. If you don't want to wake up, you want to remain in your, in your hole, you don't want to go down the rabbit hole, I get it, guys. But until we don't wake up, we will not be able to unite as the people to get and remove these people who are ruling us out of power, because it will get worse. Thank you for watching, guys. Please, the best thing you could do is at least like it and share it so we could bring awareness. Again, if you want to take the blue pill, then you've probably already logged out. But if not, now you know what's going on. So read this paperwork. Take time. Pause it and read it. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching.